Welcome back everyone. Thank you so much for watching so far, and I'm really glad you guys are watching my second video again. So this week we're going to be making a slightly simpler dish. It's going to be made with aubergines, potato, and the same long green chili peppers, Chinese long green chili peppers again. I don't really have a lot of interesting things to say about this dish. There's not a cool or fun story or anecdote about it. It's just a very traditional home-cooked meal made with 3 very simple ingredients. I think one of the things about these 3 ingredients is that they usually come to fruition in fall. So farmers and families in Northeast, so Northeastern China used to be more farmland. They would harvest these vegetables and then cook this dish. Now this dish, although traditional and is a very good home-cooked meal, it is not the most healthy meal. I think you'll find that most Northeastern Chinese cooking is not very healthy because we use a lot of heavy sauces and use a lot of frying. And I do apologize, this dish is going to be deep fried again this week, but I promise next week it won't be deep fried. And I also promise that not all Northeastern dishes are deep fried. There is a lot of deep frying, but I'll try my best to not deep fry things if I can, because it is not very healthy and also very wasteful of oil and also quite complicated to do as well. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is just wash all your vegetables and then chop them. So I've got the rice cooking in the background, because one of the things that I dislike the most is forgetting to cook the rice, and then when my dishes are ready and then I have to cook the rice after that point, then my dish becomes cold. So always remember, cook your rice first, keep it warm, and then get started. First thing we will do is we will peel the potato, and then we will cut it into small wedges. So it's quite simple to cut these wedges. So all you want to do is cut the potato in half, and then just kind of cut them into small triangles. I would say the thickest you want it to be is about 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeter, not too thick, because you want them to cook fairly quickly, and when you deep fry them, they will crisp up quite nicely. So just kind of easy wedges. You don't have to worry that much about the shape. Just go ahead, cut them into wedges. We do the same for the aubergines. Now, you don't have to really care too much about how pretty the wedges are. Honestly, you're just cutting some chunks. Because once they're fried, it's all just going to be eaten as food anyways. So yeah, just some nice chunks. Doesn't really matter. So here are the finished aubergines and potatoes. Finished chili peppers. So it looks like that. So you can see it has that. Oh, I can't. Focusing. Oh my god. 1 sec. So I don't know if you can see. There we go. So you can see how this piece of chili is a little bit rotated. That's the kind of pattern you get from a rolling cut. Not really focused, but you get the gist. Now at this point you might say, James, you haven't de-seeded or deveined the chilies. If you know something about me, is that I love to eat hot spicy food and heat. So for me, deveining and de-seeding chilies is sacrilegious and ruining a perfect thing. My motto is always, if I don't want my spices to give me a kick, I want my spices to give me a concussion. So I fully expect to be both sweating and crying when I eat my chilies. Therefore, I keep all my seasoned veins. And also with the rolling cut technique, I don't know how you can devein and de-seed. You have to devein and de-seed each piece, which I think is just very pedantic and tedious. But yeah, so I really like spicy food, and if you're my true friend and you serve me food that's not spicy, then I don't want to eat it. Now that we've chopped our chilies and our aubergines and potatoes. We need to make the sauce, the glaze. What we're going to be doing for the steps are we're going to be deep frying the vegetables to cook them, and then we're going to stir fry. You might even call it flash fry all the vegetables. And you're doing the procedure really quickly, so you want everything to be ready. That's why we want to make the sauce beforehand. So when we go stir fry, we just quickly throw the vegetables in and then throw the sauce in, give it a good couple of flips and flicks, and then we're done. You don't want your vegetables to be cooking in the wok and then you're making your sauce in a hurry, and either burn your vegetables or you have to kind of keep them lukewarm while you make the sauce. So you want to prepare everything in advance. I think when I'm making Western food or food from other countries and regions, I always pre-prepare all my ingredients, and it's even more so for a lot of Chinese dishes, because Chinese dishes at the end is all about stir frying and flash frying, so you have to have everything on hand and ready. So for this sauce, I'm going to be using potato starch. You could use corn flour, cornstarch, the same thing, or rice flour as well. Basically anything that can thicken. I'm just using potato starch because it's kind of my go-to starch, but you can use whatever you like. So you want about 1 teaspoon of potato starch, and then you want 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. So I have here we go, Kikkoman soy sauce. Where is it? Kikkoman? There we go. Kikkoman soy sauce. I want 1 tablespoon of this. Then a teaspoon of salt. I will also put all the recipes in the description, so don't worry about thinking about it now. We want 2 teaspoons of sugar to give it a little bit of a sweetness. 1, 2. And to counteract the sweetness, because otherwise it'd be too sweet, I'm also going to be putting 2 tablespoons of chinkang vinegar. So traditionally, I believe the recipe does not ask for chinkang vinegar. So, oh sorry, I should show you guys. 1 sec. So chinkang vinegar, very special ingredient in Chinese cooking, is from a city called Zhenjiang, which I think in Cantonese is Qingqiang. It's a very aged rice vinegar, so it's very umami, quite pungent. It smells a bit like, very hard to say. It smells like a much more pungent version of a balsamic vinegar. But it's definitely a staple in Chinese cooking. But the original recipe does not ask for sugar or chinkang vinegar or oyster sauce. I'm only adding it because this is my modification and I thought it tastes good, and I hope you guys will enjoy it, but you don't have to. You don't have to add those, I mean. So, last thing is 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. It's quite hard to cook and talk and film at the same time, actually. There you go. And last but not least, 100 ml. Sorry, let me show you. About 100 ml of water, cold water. It has to be cold water. Listen to me, you must use cold water. If you don't use cold water, the starch is going to clump up and you're not going to be able to use it as a sauce to thicken the final dish. So it has to be cold. And then give it all a good mix. Yeah, really make sure you mix up the starch and the sugar. So at the end, when you make your sauce, the sugar is really going to help caramelize, and the starch will help thicken. So you kind of have two thickeners in there that will help you give the sauce a nice flavor. The soy sauce, the chicken vinegar, and the oyster sauce are all going to give it a deep and umami flavor. It will just make this dish a lot more intense, which is always what I like. Right, now that we made the sauce, we want to coat. So this is kind of my own take on it, my own modification on it. We want to coat the aubergines and the potato in potato starch. I know, it sounds a bit weird. The reason why we want to do that is because potato starch gives both of them a nice crunch on the outside, but also after you fry them, it gives the aubergines still a little bit of structure for when you stir fry everything at the end. And finally, that coating, that thin layer of dry potato starch coating, will also help to hold on to the sauce. After you stir fry everything, the sauce will thicken, and then the potato starch will hold on to the sauce better, so it gives you more taste in every bite. So very simple and easy. All you want to do is grab a big dish or Tupperware or big bowl, put the aubergines and the potatoes in, and then we coat them. So let's do that. Aubergines and potato in. Now, to coat the aubergine and potatoes, this time it is important to use potato starch. You could use other ones, but I highly suggest you use potato starch, and you can get them in any Asian supermarket. It's because potato starch produces the crunchiest coating, so that although at the end they will become soft again, but the potato one will at least hold its shape a bit longer. The other types of starch will probably just fall off or break apart a lot easier than potato starch. So yeah, that's my suggestion. Right. So you don't need too much, you just want enough to coat everything. So sprinkle some potato starch into the tub and then give it a good toss. You just want to make sure that everything has a thin layer of potato starch coating. That's it. You're definitely not trying to create a barrier around each piece of vegetable. Then that would just be a bit too thick. But just a thin layer of coating. Allow the natural moisture of each piece of vegetable to just to kind of hold on to the starch. And then that's it. I made a mistake and I mixed the aubergines and potatoes together because I actually have to fry them separately, because the aubergines and potatoes have different cooking times. So when you do it, please coat the potatoes and aubergines in separate containers or separate Tupperware. So I'm gonna have to separate the aubergines and potatoes now, but remember that, because we will be frying them separately. Right, so now that we have the potatoes and aubergines coated and we have our cut green chili peppers, we are ready to fry them. There we go. So I have 1 liter, so that's 1 liter of oil heating up here. We want to get the oil to about 180 degrees Celsius, and then we will fry everything. The oil is not quite at 180 yet. Guys, honestly, invest in a thermometer for your oil. I used to not have one, and it was always a guessing game. For me, a thermometer really changed how I cook and the whole experience of cooking. It just made everything so much more comfortable and a lot more enjoyable to cook. So I highly suggest you invest in one. This is the color you want, that kind of golden yellow color. So get the wok back up to 180 degrees Celsius and we will fry the aubergines. Okay, the aubergines. So when you pour the aubergines out, we pour any vegetables into hot oil, pour it away from you, like so. If you pour it towards you, you might splash all the oil onto yourself, and that's boiling hot oil. If some of the aubergines stick together, don't worry about it now. Wait for the aubergines to cook and solidify. Then when you gently knock them, they will just separate very easily. Now for the frying time, it honestly really depends. I think I have a horrendously slow electric cooker, so it takes quite a while to fry my vegetables, say somewhere around 6 to 8 minutes. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you have a gas cooker which is a lot stronger, you really need to watch out for the timing because you don't want things to overcook. When the vegetables are nice, even golden brown, just take them out. That's it, it's perfect. Listen to that crunch. That's the kind of sound you want to hear. So you want this kind of golden brown color. Sorry, golden yellow color, not golden brown. Golden yellow color. So now, heat the oil back up to 180 degrees Celsius. And we're going to be deep frying the long green chilies. Only for 30 seconds, even if you want 15 to 20 seconds is enough. Please don't over fry your chilies, just a quick fry. Just to kind of give it a little bit of a, cook it a little bit, that's all. So when you are stir frying the dish, you want to use 3 cloves of garlic just to give it a little bit of taste. I will put that in the description as one of the ingredients as well. Very easy, all you want to do is just slice the garlic. You don't have to crush or mince the garlic, just slicing is fine. There we go. So pour in about 3 tablespoons of the oil that you use to deep fry with. This can be your stir frying oil. Throw in the garlic and quickly stir fry it until you start smelling the fried garlic scent. Now toss in all of your vegetables and give it a quick stir fry. Really lift from the bottom upwards to lift all the vegetables up and stir fry them. If you can, give it a couple of flips, especially if you have a wok, it's always fun. Now stir the sauce, make sure all the starch is dissolved again with the sugar, and just pour all of that over your vegetables. Now quickly stir fry your vegetables again, and again lifting from the bottom to lift all the vegetable upwards. And if you can, give it a couple of wok flips to make sure everything is coated and stir fried evenly. You want everything to be shiny, all the sauce is thickened and covering all the pieces, and then plate your vegetables. You're done. Right, just a quick little taste test, just to see how everything is. So here's the dish. Let's try a small aubergine. I'm actually not even that hungry while you're cooking and talking. Let's try it. This is the flavor that I used to have in my grandma's restaurant. It's really crispy on the outside, actually even better than last time I made it, and really gooey on the inside. And I think it'll be great with rice. So I'm gonna have dinner now. I hope you guys all enjoyed this, and see you next time. And this dish was called 地三鲜.